well. Let's see if they can collectively make it happen today and overcome what happened in finals in Madrid. Casters, take it away.
G'day, thank you so much, Law, for that one. This is my attempted hysterics voice. I'm not very good at it. Yes, I was trying. It's hard to do like another Australian person's Australian accent.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's my attempt because now I need to try and be an LEC commentator because I've got you here, Dagda, and we are ready to recast the LEC finals, and we'll see whether the draft is going to go better for both of these teams. I think MKOI, no notes. We saw that they won the game until they lost, right?
Yep.
Just do that again, but don't lose, and they should be
we've
fine.
said that a lot about MKOI is the problem, and it hasn't really come to fruition, you know? So that's, I think, what a lot of MKOI fans are hoping for. Like, you can see that there is the stepping stones of how they want to win the game, what their game plan is. It's just actually executing in the moment and not getting caught out or not overextending has been the main issue for MKOI. And it's a very similar story to what we were saying at the start of the day. Like, they played back-to-back the last two series G2 have played have been against MKOI, and it has been the 1-3 and the 3-0. So almost very similar to what we saw in the LTA rematch. But here...
Well, having a look already, as we do have a whole bunch of bans coming on through, one less, as we can see over the side of G2. Not entirely sure what happened there, but that is just fine. The monkey is going to be locked away, and now we'll see what Broken Blade is. Like, now, theoretically, he could pick Sion, but that's banned away on their side, and so isn't going to be going that direction. We'll see where they do decide to go, as the Yunara is going to be the hover here. Orianna up and available. They could take Yunara and the Orianna to start this draft off.
And they are, but they're skipping to Orth-3. So maybe I'm not entirely sure what's happening over that side. But yeah, I think Yunara, you can take the Jarvan, you can have the Orianna come through here as well. I personally would take the Orianna and then take your Jarvan on that third rotation. And this seems like a very, very strong team fighting comp already set up for yourself. And still G2. Traditionally, what we've seen is they hold the OR5 and they'll give that to Broken Blade so we can bring out things like the Kled, like the Rek'Sai, these counters into what Miro wants to bring out of that top lane.
And I have a bit of a spoiler for you. There is, in fact, a third ban. We wanted to mix things up here in this draft to make it a little bit more fun and interactive.
Okay,
We've just taken away the Orianna ban. But it does exist, so no one's going to be playing that champion. The Xin Zhao is also going to be banned away here. Picked up here, as we can see, into the Wukong. No worries about things like Trundle this time. And it does mean a whole lot of skirmishing power here for G2 in the earlier stages of the game, already represented in that jungler. As MKOI thinking about rounding out their first rounders. Wukong Taliyah, that is a lot of power in the mid jungle.
Yeah, and again, this has been the go-tos for Jojo Pyun in that mid lane call-out. It feels like the Broken Blades Warwick, but the Taliyah has been very, very strong, both in the combo that you were talking about, the Wukong in the team fights, but also for opening up onto those side lanes. So we'll have to see if MKOI can try and find that success through that once more. As actually it's going to be super, maybe taking a page out of Docdam's book yesterday, realizing just how strong this Caitlyn is.
Yeah, a little bit of the donkey mentality. Looks like Caitlyn's the best right now. And he is going to be able to lock that one in, as we are just going to redo things, put the Orianna up on the board, and there it is. One last pickup here for G2 as we get towards the next round of bans, and we'll see what it is going to be. They could round out their bottom lane if they would like to. Just grab Lebrov's pick, and things like the Nico are up and available.
That's what I was thinking as well. You could just try and steal away that Nico, or else you just leave it open and ban it away in that next rotation.
Oh my goodness. Okay. That'll do it.
It's an interesting one in the Taliyah, though, because obviously as you distortion forward, you're going over the Unraveled Earth, which may not...
Yeah, the vacuum cleaner.
Yeah.
You just hoover up all the rocks.
Yeah, so I'm curious because Caps has brought out the LeBlanc earlier in the year as well, but it didn't end up working out quite as they would have liked to. This time around, at least you've got a little bit more DPS in the composition that they had brought out before. I'll wait and hold my decision-making fully on this until I see exactly in game. But at the moment, I'm a little bit of trepidation around this.
Yeah, I'm a little bit worried as well based on the composition, right? Because you've already shown Yunara, and now there's a Xin Zhao. A lot of skirmishing in that, like, mid-jungle is pretty powerful, but I feel like it's somewhat off theme from more of, like, a late-game team-fighting
exactly.
carry.
Yeah, and I think, like, G2 have been a team that are very strong in 1-3-1 and how they play their macro. It's just when I'm trying to think of, hey, getting access to a Caitlyn who's playing really far back, especially after the rapid-fire cannons is here, it feels like the tools and targets for Caps are going to be a little bit more difficult.
Well, see what they do to try and mitigate that one. As the Braum already banned away here on MKOI's side, we'll see whether they stick towards some of these supports for that one, as the Nico's still looming, as we can see, but will be taken away here on G2's side. So not wanting to deal with that one. Interesting that they took it away when they had the first pick out of the gates. Might mean that they have something else in mind, or wanting to get that counter pick for Lebrov, which could be an opportunity as the Lulu taken away as well, and another expectation that we might have had for that bottom lane pick.
With the Braum, though, it says to me that they actually want to try and go for some sort of engage for Alvaro, and that has been his best style of champion. So maybe just trying to isolate Caitlyn in the 1v1 against Yunara and try and do what is a similar thing to what we saw actually KT in the last game. But Hans Sam hovering the Draven did get some buffs and is a very big player of the Draven, but with the Yunara already there, they're just going to go for the Cassante, which I'm kind of surprised at. I thought they'd keep the last pick for Broken Blade in that counter pick.
Yeah, it could have been one of those options. Wanting to make sure that this Yunara is as comfortable as possible. And with the Caitlyn there, right, and if you slammed, say, an engage support, you could just get Caitlyn calmed, and then you just end up playing the video game. And I imagine most of these players want to play the video game, as it turns out. As the Alistar going to be picked up, that is a dangerous one, though, here from Alvaro. If they do decide to lock this one in, and they do, does mean that they're not going to necessarily have the same kind of lane presence that other Caitlyn lanes could have. You know, thinking back to things like Caitlyn Lux in the past that are almost impossible to play into. This one, not going to be quite down the same vein.
I wonder if they're just going to opt in towards the Nautilus for Lebrov on the opposite side, though. You can interrupt a lot of what Alistar wants to do in the lane, and then being that point-and-click CC for someone like the Caitlyn sets up well for caps, and having those targets that then become very easy to land those abilities. As Mirren go for the Jax on the top side.
I don't mind this. I'm actually, like, I was interested in the Cassante pick, right? For Broken Blade, I thought that that was, like, it's a lot more of Moen's style. But Moen, of course, knows how to play into it as well. We'll be picking up the Jax this time around. Just feels like a difference of theme. Like, I expect Broken Blade to be the one playing the Jax in this particular matchup. As Lebrov, oh my goodness, a last pick Brad to come on through here. Or Bard, if you want to pronounce it correctly. And alongside the Yunara, they could get some things done here in this early stage of the game. As, of course, double range going to make that Caitlyn feel a little bit less oppressive.
Yeah, definitely. This composition from MKOI feels like an MKOI summer draft, where it's much more about their 1-3-1, playing through sides, having good push with their AD carry on mid, and trying to lend themselves into supporting Jojo, Pion, and Mirren on those split pushing roles. Whereas for G2, you still have some split push that you can answer with, like obviously the LeBlanc very strong in that regard, but it feels much more about, hey, we're going to try and look for quick picks with the Bard and set up then for the team fight, enabling Hans Sama on this Yunara to try and be that main DPS to him.
Yeah, tell you what, it feels like a bit of a G2 composition though, right? There's a lot of smoke and mirrors. There's a lot of weirdness that you can find, like all outs into then being chained up and destroyed while all the rest of the team is getting tempered, faded, and things like this. Like, I feel like G2 are going to be able to do their G2 things with a composition like this and not falling into the same pitfalls of staring down a draft that feels very difficult to play into, which is what we saw yesterday.
It does feel, though, if MKOI can get off to an early lead, they have really good spots. Like, if Mirren gets ahead on this Jax, there isn't a huge amount of peel for the Yunara, these kind of things, right? Like, which traditionally is what you expect with a Yunara composition, is just kind of set her up as this late-game DPS. So maybe MKOI, if they can get off to a nice start, can close this one out against G2 and get a bit of revenge for what was LEC playoffs.
And we saw already this Worlds, the early game has been pretty good for MKOI, and they've got the engage circles, right? They've got the Cyclone, they've got the Counter-Strike, they have the tools to get the job done. And already, Jojo is throwing a whole bunch of rocks around this mid lane. A whole bunch of buttons going a little bit wide here as well, as Wind doesn't quite become lightning by Skewmon. Yoya poking his nose in, but doesn't find too much more, as the Monkey King will head back towards the Fog of War. Unintentional rhyme, but I did kind of like it. Oh dear. Okay, Moen going to move in. There is that Counter-Strike that we were talking about, and already Skewmon's dead, first blood! And we said the early game was... I wasn't expecting it this early!
I mean, Skewmon wasn't expecting that either. Getting caught out in his own jungle. Great move by Mirwin to get into position.
How did he get there?
I actually don't know.
He didn't flash over the wall, did he? That'd be crazy.
Didn't. No.
Oh, we could have said the Chronicler line, but he flashed over the wall. It's a very fun one.
Your Chronicler impression's better than your Asterix impression.
Yeah. I just have to channel a bit of Mickey Mouse, and it's fine.
Okay.
So that's what I went for there. All right, back into the laning phase. This shouldn't. I mean, it was a relatively late kill, but I don't think it should disrupt the jungle pathing too much here of the Xin Zhao.
No, the thing it does disrupt, though, is kind of what a lot of this matchup has boiled down to, which is the jungle and support versus each other. Because a lot of the engine that we talk about is Elyoya and Alvaro trying to see if they can get that success in the early stages that they can then lean into the later portion. As good binding there by Supa.
Yeah, good headbutt there as well, though, to make sure that Hansama is in a rough position. You can see there, 200 health here for the Yunara. Let's press the Q button to put a little bit of danger towards MKOI, but they are standing their ground right now. Level 2 going to be gained here, but it's a good Cosmic Binding defensively here from Lebrov to just move them away. Still not going to have too much control. Just going to have to wait for some hot cocoa to feel a little bit better.
Yeah, Mirin able to crash this wave, get the proc, and then manage to get in behind as well. Proxy these minions. So again, this is a great early start for MKOI, and this is what we're talking about. If you can now lend that into every time you face up as this Wukong, you're able to get some advantages in the 1v1 or get some of these counter ganks off against the Xin Zhao. The fact that you'll have this nicer reset is going to be huge. But mid.
Okay, a little bit more there is okay. Nguyen is just going to be getting out of that top side. Does he take another wave? That's the big question, as Passive going to get procced here by Caps, but he offers the same back in kind, and both flashes now down in that mid lane, as we are really fighting here. Caps and Jojo wanting to really assert their dominance early. See who's going to be able to get the last laugh, though, because now out of those flashes does mean some kill potential available. No junglers in the area, so not going to have to worry about that one. Just will be a pure 1v1 as Caps is looking for it, wanting to try and find the chains. Doesn't quite get there as Jojo. Nice use of the minions and their positioning to make sure that he's not going to get chained up.
Yes, Skimon.
That was cute.
Skimon is going to say he's going to come up towards his top side, though, as he wants to try and get a grab for himself. So looks like Jojo has to back away as Elyoya now just in mid. Caps reads it, though. Not going to give him that opportunity.
Collects a turret shot and then moves his way towards the top side. Looks like top scuttle is going to be Elyoya's as Moen goes in, finds himself a nice little counter strike there, and the Empower doing a fair bit of work as we get a third Q back, but grass procs all over the place. Not really too much to speak of when it comes to the CS, but man, it's already feeling like this game is a powder keg, right?
It really is, yeah. I mean, you can even see the ring around Rosie we're having on the junglers. Alvaro going to move up as we get this grab taken by Skimon, but Elyoya has now made his way back down.
Yeah. Can he actually find an angle here is the question. As Xin Zhao just going to be clearing out as much vision as he can. You can see Elyoya just going to be going back home. And MKOI will clear out this minion wave and be on their merry way as well. So not going to quite see too much just yet, but it is about a 400 gold lead based on that first blood. Still sticking around here from MKOI, showing that they have been able to stick the landing as far as the laning phase is so far concerned here at 4.5 minutes.
And you can see that Monkey is now armed to the teeth thanks to that early kill last
That
team.
is a lot of long swords.
It does mean that, again, if you end up matching into any of these ganks from Skimon in the early stages, you will have a very big advantage when it comes towards just broad DPS. Skimon, though, tends to be more of a, hey, I'm going to try and farm it up and get to a position where post level 6 it can make things happen as Mirwin.
The flash forward, Hansama's here though. Moen picks up turret aggro. Oh no, the Slurkle is his demise. That's the most value out of that ability I have ever seen. And that is going to be the first kill back here for G2 as chains are going to connect towards Jojo. Caps pops back towards the distortion though. And both supports just hanging out here in mid will mean that we have both of them being okay.
Heartbreak for Mirin in that top side, though. Thought maybe he'd be able to get one up on BB, but instead, nice little hop away and perfect timing as Hansama gets into that top lane. And again, this is where the Yunara can become incredibly strong in this matchup. As MKOI, a lot of members hovering around mid.
Yeah, Elyoya able to get himself over there. The flash pulverize comes in. Phenomenal shove comes down as well as Caps gives himself away by distorting. Still gonna have to try and do some funny business to escape Elyoya, but he finds an Nimbus Strike and down goes Caps. A second kill for MKOI on the table now, and they move to about a 600 gold lead in this early game.
Great play by MKOI. Alvaro with the flash forward and knowing that he had Jojo Pyun with the flick back to set that one up. And this was what we saw a lot of from MKOI in the finals, was playing around mid, trying to punish Caps, especially in that game number 1. This time, working out well for them.
Looking pretty nice. As you can see, Broken Blade versus Super towards the bottom side is not exactly Broken Blade's favorite thing, given the range advantage, as we have a bit of an engagement. Another Pulverize comes down as Alvaro is on a mission today, man. Just starting fights wherever he can find them. Of course, Broken Blade pretty tanky, so he's going to be a-okay.
Whenever Alvaro's feeling it, though, that tends to be when MKOI are feeling it as well. This man, amazing at moving around the map, linking up with Elyoya and finding these plays. I mean, you just saw it in the mid lane, right? This is where they tend to find their advantages. Lebrov on the roam on the Bard.
Yeah, Meep Slap comes on in. Cosmic Binding down there as well, as no more Counter-Strike means that a bunch of this damage is going to stick, but it is just Moen moving back towards his outer turret on the top side. Threaded Volley comes in. We'll see where the Caps can land. The chains does connect them here as Scumon's making his way in as Elyoya biding his time, finds the Cyclone here onto the LeBlanc. Another shove from Jojo. This guy finding his targets whenever he wants to, and that's going to be Feats of Warfare locked down by MKOI already here at 7 minutes into the game. Hansama doesn't quite find the Arc of Ruin as Moen's able to get himself out.
Elyoya is massive in this game. All those kills going in towards the Wukong, going to be very quickly working up towards that Triforce, and this is going to be a disaster. Like we already said, there's not an awful lot of protection tools for Hansama in this game. The Wukong getting access to the Yunara could just be everything that MKOI need in this game.
Now Moen going to be pushed back here towards his top side, and maybe in Hansama we trust is going to be the G2 mantra here in this game. Has been throughout some of this year as well, as he has been playing pretty well. Currently has about a 400 gold lead. But I'm looking in that jungle, man. I have there's Cubby's tweet today. He was talking about the fact that he thought Jarvan was going to be the jungler of the patch. But you can nerf the monkey as many times as you want, but he still finds the angles, and that is continuing to be the thing here. And nerf's not going to matter too much when you pick up 3 kills in a row in the early game. Elyoya now looking for some grubs as well, and he has just full control of this jungle.
There's very little that G2 could really do to respond here. Plus, you've still got Supa, who's getting to work his way through this topside turret. And G2 just looking at a bit of a loss, and again, like a huge amount of the talking points coming off of that final series was the fact that Scumon and Lebrov had found their synergy.
Yeah.
It's not looking so great. Although Lebrov!
The flash in, going flash for flash with the Talia feels pretty good as Lebrov here. And going to be able to lay down the Coco for Caps to make sure that he is going to be well and truly hydrated. Something that is very important. If you are Bard, provide as much of that refreshment as possible.
Yeah, and I think Lebrov has been doing a good job of getting into places to force summoner spells to try and make plays happen, but unfortunately just hasn't had Scumon working alongside him. Whereas when you look at MKOI, it's been Alvaro and Elyoya consistently making the plays together, or working with Jojo, Pyunin, and Elyoya on that combo.
And we mentioned it already, right? We were talking about the mid-jungle was looking so good from the very beginning of the draft.
Yeah.
And MKOI did waste no time making that one work out. As we know, about 1 minute into the game was in fact when that happened. Magical Journey delivers. Lebrov finds a Tempered Fate here onto the cow. Weaver's Wall comes in though. It is going to block 2 of them off, and now it's Alvaro going down to start this one off. Hansama in a little bit of trouble. Flashes out of the way of the seismic shove and eliminates Elyoya as well. That is such a huge shutdown going over to the main carry of G2.
I cannot believe Hansama managed to get away with that. They had a little hop, a little jump, a little flash to try and escape, and I think it was the chains from Caps that prevented Elyoya from actually closing the distance at the end. We'll get a repeat here as Lebrov, the pixel perfect Bard stun after this. You can see it barely ekes onto the edge of the tree to stun down Alvaro. But watch the backline as Elyoya comes through, but doesn't feel comfortable going far enough forward. And then Scumon jumping in to make sure he can get that knock up on towards Elyoya.
Oh man.
And stops it all.
Real rough there as well. It was so close for Jojo to try and get that kill onto Hansama, but he survives, and there is a solo kill for Broken Blade in the top lane.
BB's
I thought it was just top lane things, but he was just killing him.
No, showing him how to use the flash properly, getting that kill on the back end of it, shutting down the Jax. This looked so good for MKOI after the first few minutes, but G2 finally coming alive, and we'll see it here as we get on into it. Mirwin just very close to Terra. I have a feeling it's a third shot that's going to come through off this knockback. Yeah, there it is.
Oh no.
Mirwin just taking way too much damage off the back of that. Well played by Broken Blade to catch Mirwin and punish him.
Really beautifully done. Even collects a lot of the minion wave, but flashes on in, collects the kill. Very nicely done there by Broken Blade. And Caps now looking to put the hurt onto Jojo Pyun as well. The rocks were already lying on the floor. Doesn't exactly find the threaded volley there as well that he wanted.
It doesn't feel fair that Caps is 0-2 in doing that.
Yeah, it does seem somewhat illegal. And Jojo wasn't the one to pick up the kills, right? It was Elyoya that collected those. It's what is now given Hans Sommer an advantage as well, as Super does also have to use his flash here in this mid lane. It's G2. Man, they were a bit sleepy in the early game, but now as we've ticked past the 10-minute mark, they are looking a whole lot more comfy. As, yes, great emotes there, gentlemen. As Moen is going to get pushed away, and BB feeling himself here. First item completion has come on through here, as the Iceborne Gauntlet has been done. So Broken Blade feeling very comfortable. And I'm glad that he's letting us know. You know, that's what emotes are for, to add that level of emotion. And so now we know exactly how he's feeling.
He still does use that take notes from MSI.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, he was very fond of that.
I only use one emote.
What is it?
It's the Morgan Shaky Hands Renekton emote.
I use the Poro scratching to the Poro's head.
Oh, that's a cute one.
Yeah,
I like
that.
that.
My AD carried as well.
I feel like that's a good one in a lot of different scenarios, and is always gonna like keep up the vibes.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm well and truly into that one. I have to just use the Renekton one. It's okay, now Jojo could be in a little bit of trouble. Tempered Fate comes down, and Hans Sommer waiting to try and get the damage in, but Alvaro, he's waiting as well. Another shove is going to connect, but Hans is so scary, has the barrier, uses it so well to take down Jojo. Now Alvaro, he does have Elyoya coming in. Finally, the Nimbus Strike is going to come on down. Not enough from the Cosmic Binding there, and down will go this Yunara. And actually getting the shutdown back as he gets a killing spree.
Elyoya going to be able to profit off of that one, but still, you can see just how much damage Hans Sommer can do when he's left alone. But Skewmond, fishing for this. Supa's in the area though. I don't think he really wanted to take that fight. But with Jojo going down and Supa having to move mid, it's Caps getting a little bit of a lone time on the top side. These two still at it.
Yep, and I will certainly pay more attention to see whether this is another solo kill. Broken Blade right now, though, is just feeling terrifying. How many turret shots is that? 2? And he seems unbothered.
Are you sure 2 hit? It might have just been 0.
It might have, let's just say 0. It felt like 0. It's more about what it feels like than what actually happens. I'm sure that's the case. As here in the top lane, Jojo is going to be able to find Caps, but as you were saying before, things have well and truly evened out. As Jojo, oh my goodness, that electrocute proc. You're exactly right. This is not a 0-2 feeling LeBlanc. As now Jojo in a whole host of trouble, does find the shove. The Caps is going to distort forward, looking for a bit of an angle here, connects the chains, and Alvaro puts himself in to make sure that they do back away. But there's still so much pressure now being put on, and Lebrov just being frustrating, stopping the backs, denying the defense here from MKOI.
Yeah, Lebrov is doing a really good job this game of leaning from mid into top and constantly keeping that pressure there and enabling Caps when he does get these chunks to fully have the support and play hyper aggressive. I think he even spotted out that Elyoya was on his way into the top side. So overall, just look at the vision that is set up on that top half of the map to support Caps and being that split push pressure.
I mean, there is just a line of control wards going the entire way up the map. They are taking control of the majority of it at this point in time. And this was an early game that MKOI looked like they were in control of. They still have, had a relative gold lead. There it is, 100 gold. Nailed it. But G2 just, the tempo vibes. This is a perfect example. Yeah, they're not in the lead, but the tempo vibes, it's all G2 right now. And Jojo looking to try and turn that one around as Caps connect some chains. And the rocks don't really do too much. Another shove is going to connect. His accuracy on that has been phenomenal here today. But outside of that, not really able to withstand the incessant poke of this LeBlanc. Okay.
Very low in this
He is very low in this bottom side. Maybe it's just top lane things, but Broken Blade, remember, he's immune to turret shots, ladies and gentlemen. That's a thing. Lebrov isn't immune to monkeys, but he's able to create magical journeys to get himself out of the way. We're going to have picture-in-picture here as the top laners do battle, but thankfully Moen does clear out the entirety of the minion wave, as now Jojo in trouble once again, and Caps is going to pop back in, gets himself the redemption heal as well, and it's another trip home in Jojo's future. Meanwhile, they just don't stop fighting. Let's have a look at this one in the river as well, as Alvaro able to keep Hans Sommer busy for a while, but even through the unbreakable will, he's going to break him. Skewmon takes down the cow, and thankfully, the gentleman in the bottom lane did stop killing each other, so I didn't have to worry about that one.
Mirren did end up having to take the reset.
I know I've got 2 eyes, but it's so hard to use them independently. I'm not a chameleon.
I was just trying desperately to be like, where are you focused? And I'll look at the other one for the majority of
Thanks, David.
Yeah. But G2, happy to take kind of everything. So you needed a third eye. Keep your eye on the top lane, on this Rift Herald, and now that bottom lane as well.
My third eye is blind, unfortunately.
Oh,
Isn't that a band?
it is, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was going for.
Kind of life.
Yeah,
Yes.
there it is. I wasn't a huge
We're old.
fan, but I did like their name. Anyway, MKOI going to be able to clear out this minion wave, at least in the mid lane. Collector is done for Super, but still a ways away from putting the Infinity Edge together. And wow, I do love that. When you pop back to the original distortion, the chain is still going out. That animation
like
is very funny. It is,
Yeah.
except way longer and looks way sillier. As Caps able to just freely push here in mid. Now has a 600 gold lead. He's still a 0-2 LeBlanc. I still don't feel like it's very fair.
No. There's so much damage that he's able to churn out. And like, if he can get access towards Super in that, I think it will be great. But you can kind of see like Jojo's been very good in those 1v1s of if I end up throwing out that Unraveled Earth, you're going to have to play defensive then as Caps, or you end up in a bit of a difficult spot. So I think that's where it'll be a case of how can G2 set up the Caps gets access to some of these key carries at MKOI.
And do you want another taste of us being old?
No.
We've got Earth, Wind, and Fire Dragons.
Oh,
Heck yeah.
My brother to this day will just randomly send me a text every time on the on the day, or on the night, I suppose. But yeah, 21st night of September,
Yep.
every single time.
Beautiful. I'm personally a Groove Tonight fan.
Oh, okay.
That's my favorite one of theirs. I remember my next door neighbor's parents had the album. So I grew up with it. Anyway, that's enough of that aside. That's how Ansama is able to push this wave forward in the mid lane. He still has a 600 gold lead. He's joined by Caps on that front, but honestly, like having a look at the gold numbers, it's still not like breaking the bank on either side, but it's G2 moving not only to a tempo vibes advantage, but just a normal advantage. And stacking up these dragons is going to be more and more scary with the Infernal being the soul.
Yeah, MKOI unfortunately just haven't really found a way to break it. You do have, like, Aoyoi is still incredibly strong if he can actually find those moments, but it's becoming less and less. Like, you can see 2 items already for Skimon, who's still the Rift out in the back pocket. So trying to, like, if you try to make a play on a side lane, you're going into a Cassante who is very difficult to kill, a LeBlanc who's very difficult to lock down. So you kind of have to make a play on towards Hansama, but Lebrov is just sitting as his own little ward to make sure you can't.
Mimic Distortion comes down as Caps is going to be able to chain up this Talia. Seismic Shove goes wide, and Jojo is just going to get exploded. Lebrov comes in with a meep slap, and that one's real dangerous as Alvaro escapes out of the Tempered Fate, but unfortunately now he's in the hands of Ansama, who will find that Arc of Ruin, and Caps steals away the kill. Finally on the board here for the mid laner of G2.
Nice collapse from G2. They know that they didn't have the wave in mid to worry about, as that one's only marching out of base, so they immediately collapse onto bot lane. Mirren, though, moving in here, because Hansama has to try and get towards this turret, and MKOI looking to pick him off as he does.
Yeah, a little dangerous, as Moen is going to chunk out this turret. Man, whacking it with this Jax, so down goes the outer turret. A little bit back here for MKOI, as the Cosmic Binding is going to annoy the Jax momentarily, but not annoying him too much as he throws up the FBX logo.
That is one of the things MKOI can do, though, is the fact you have these 3 Void Grubs and you've got things like the Jax. If you find these moments where G2 do overextend, looking for a cross map can be very valuable.
Oh god, that picture-in-picture is so scary based on what happened yesterday in a whole lot of our matchups, and especially for MKOI fans. Like, don't do that. That's all right. Rift Herald is going to come on down here as Broken Blade in position. Just make sure that they do get this turret. And this is definitely dead, but what more can they get out of Shelly here? As Broken Blade's going to be the one that tries to drive this one around. It lasts about 12.5 milliseconds and is then going to be eradicated. But they do manage to answer in kind that takedown of the outer turret that was just put together. And Arakan towards the bottom side of the map, Dagda. How scared are we?
I'm a little nervous, I'm not gonna lie.
I think an LEC team is going to be okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say, either way, I'm not like, one of my teams wins.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, but still, Cap's doing a lot of work here.
The split push from Moen is working here at the same time, so the Jack's doing what it says on the tin, but losing this Arakan for free is not really for the best. You know, I'm putting that in the cons column pretty comfortably, and there it does go. No answer here as the teleport towards the top side of the map. They're looking to try and push this Jax away. Doesn't have a whole lot of the blue stuff here as well, as Broken Blade looking real aggressive. There's a leap strike, flash out there from Moen, but the flash to follow from Broken Blade, and he's not able to get over that wall. Blast Cone for the disengagement. Caps is going to find him. The double distortion is enough, but Elyoya is going to be there. Caps needs a big amount of funny business, but unfortunately, you can't outplay that as the bullet is going to weave on in and take down the LeBlanc.
I mean, 1 for 1, you'll take it as MKOI, plus the TP to get to that top side for Broken Blade. And now Jojo gets a little bit of a lone time on the spot side. I don't know how low that bot lane turret is. Minions might just finish it off. But MKOI again, like, this is what I wanted to see is, if you have to give up these objectives, there's no point taking a fight. You know you're behind. Look for the cross maps. Use the fact you have these 3 Void Grubs, and you're at least getting some pressure on the map.
It's working out quite nicely. As, backing right where those cinders are. Just grab the cinders. Oh, I really like getting cinders. Anyway, the Dragon going to be coming up in 25 seconds time. And that is going to be something that MKOI needs to fight for, right? Soul Point with Infernal Soul, it's not something you want to give away, especially to a team like G2 that can play around it for the rest of the game. They have things like this LeBlanc to make things very, very annoying. Speaking of annoying, Lebrov going to stop Moen from getting on forward. They're moving over, though. And MKOI, as you can see here, just wanting to keep their eyes on exactly what Caps is doing. Alvaro taking a bit of poke as Elyoya going to have to use that Warrior Trickster to avoid Broken Blade, who is still looking absolutely massive on this Cassante. 2 items now complete. Tempered Fate is going to connect onto 1. That is not quite enough to start off this fight, even though it was the AD carry. G2 not a whole lot of follow-up, so now no Tempered Fate to worry about here on MKOI's side.
Near spotted a ward on this bottom side, which is why G2 now starting to play a little bit more aggressive, but they do have to be worried about the flank.
Yeah, Slurkle not going to do too much here. Is Jojo going to get chained up? Caps just immediately out of there. And man, he is being frustrating here to MKOI as the wall comes on through. Lebrov not able to get on over. Doesn't have the magical journey either. Is now Broken Blade in amongst 4 people, but he kind of likes it from what I can see here, as it's pretty difficult to get very much damage to stick. And Lebrov getting himself into position. Hansama now free hitting. Hasn't pressed that R button just yet. Holding on to that one for when this fight really starts. And it hasn't quite erupted just yet.
MKOI looks scared. They don't want to take the fight. And it means you're just getting the poke from G2.
Yeah, Moen in so much trouble. Gets the 3rd Q. And Broken Blade is able to help put him in the ground. So Moen not going to be here for this fight. That should be Soul Point going over to G2. MKOI are going to back away. I mean, it's what they have to do. But man, giving this up is just a disaster.
MKOI just didn't want to take the fight, and it gave Cap so much time to get the poke they wanted. As Elyoya now,
they get the Cyclone out as well as Broken Blade just goes in. All out comes on forward. Alvaro now with the unbreakable will, but it's looking a bit more breakable than you'd otherwise expect based on the name, as Hansama might be able to get a big chunk onto this inner turret as well. Zabrov is going to have to ult himself, but that buys time for Hansama to dash on over. Was it all a bait? The answer is maybe.
We'll check it
take
in the
inner
replay.
turret as well.
Look, it works out in the end, all right?
Yeah.
So it was
I'm all about outcome-focused assessment. Orcs taught me about it, and the outcome was inner turret, 1-for-1 kill score. The AD carry goes down, you sacrifice your bard. I think it sounds good to me.
Logic is there.
Yep.
Same sound.
It's not sound. You don't need to say that, Rob. It wasn't very sound.
Man, I've got to continue on this road, all right?
I'm just trying to help, okay? All right, 12-6 is the kill score, though. You can see about 4,000 gold is the lead for G2, but the problem is these big stacks of dragons, the Otacon there as well. There's a whole lot of stats that this team has that MKOI does not, and 3 items have now been completed for Hansama. This Yunara is frightening. And this Caitlyn still yet to hit 3, really wants to be able to make it towards 3 items to really feel dangerous. And Moen doing the best that he can, right? Like split pushing as the Jax, it's what you want to do. But it is really hard to find the angles as Lebrov could be a target here. Super sidesteps, Cosmic Binding nicely. Broken Blade able to stand beside them though, as Flash has to be employed to get out of the way of the Tempered Fate. Jojo comes in with the ulti there as well, but doesn't find too much more as Alvaro in a very awkward position. And Broken Blade, he's got eyes only for Super here as he pushes him towards the blast plant. And Moen, Moen, are we okay? Okay, well, the Baron is going to do most of the work, killing Moen there as he was looking for a flank angle, but unfortunately MKOI, they had different ideas, and now the Baron is going to get started. Caps walks straight into a large line of rocks though, and the ace in the hole comes on in. Jojo finds the threaded volley, and down goes Caps. MKOI not out of this one yet as Super is now walking towards BB. He gets knocked up by the Cyclone. Another shove there from JoJo's Magical Journey. Gets him to relative safety. Skewmon goes in just to be the hero and he fights it. Hansama takes down JoJo and I don't know how it worked, but absolutely it worked here for G2. Skewmon continuing his onslaught and Hansama is just clicking on these heads. It's a triple for the Yunara and G2 just in the, like, once again, outcome-focused assessment.
I mean, it was the right call from Skewmon. Everyone on G2 was helping out. He said, I'm going in. Manages to get the flash then out of the damage. And G2, just like that, they turned it around.
Yeah, and it was a mistake from Moen, but I saw the turnaround happening from MKOI. In the end, it is going to spell this inhibitor going down in the mid lane. And G2, I mean, they're moving to about a 7,000 gold lead at this stage. 2 minutes until the next dragon as well. It's feeling like we're heading towards done and or dusted territory. But miracles have happened. And MKOI, they were on the other side of it last time. But it was a little bit earlier in the game than this.
Caps is going to have it first.
Oh, he's got a really cool hat. It's a really nice,
yeah.
a really nice hat that he's got there.
I like how you are looking at the hat while he has a gun in one hand and a... I don't know what that other thing is.
Oh dear. Well, Moen is dead. Caps is going to chain him up. And Broken Blade going to help set him down there as Weaver's Wall comes on in. They want to try and block them off here, and Broken Blade might be the target, but the Tempered Fate is going to lock down the turret and 2 members of MKOI. So the wall does absolutely nothing. Lebrov is just making them look silly right now as the third Q connects, and the cow is just going to be stake here for G2's enjoyment. Hansama is unstoppable now as they will take down yet another inhibitor. And it's feeling pretty similar to a lot of the other matchups between these two squads in the LEC as G2 are looking to play with their food a little bit here. Cyclone doing a fair bit of work, but Elyoya is on his fountain with not much more hope other than to try and stay alive and watch his Nexus fall as G2 are on the board here at Worlds.
G2 woke up and chose violence.
Yeah.
It started off well for MKOI, but Lebrov on the roams, Caps with his LeBlanc, decimating health bars inside lanes, and